Hello and welcome to Member 365 webinar training series. Today's webinar is on group memberships. So before we begin, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. So first, for those of you who don't know me, I'm your host, Christine Bundy, the Customer Success Manager here at Member 365. And one fun fact about me is I love questions. There's no dumb questions. So please don't hesitate to put them into the Q&A section at the bottom of your Zoom screen. So there is a Q&A area where you can ask questions. So as they come to you throughout the presentation, please put them in there. We'll have a Q&A session at the end to address them all. That being said, everybody has been muted and we are recording today's session. So if you miss something, don't worry, you're going to be sent a recording afterwards. It also is going to go on our website, and there's a whole bunch up there already from past webinars, and you can also see any new upcoming webinars on the website as well. So those are always being updated on a monthly basis, so please make sure you check them out. There's a whole bunch of new ones I just posted last week. For today, we are going to first go through configuring group memberships, what that looks like. We're going to go through the administrator's experience, and then we're going to go through the primary contact experience. We're going to go through some best practices and then get into that Q&A session that I'm always excited about. So to start, I want to get a few definitions out so that you can follow along with what I'm talking about throughout the presentation. So the first one is a primary contact. What is that? They are the individual that's in charge of the membership. So they deal with enrolling, renewals, and also managing any of the group or employee members. What's group and employee members? Great question. That's what's next on our item. So employee members or group members, they're the same thing. It's just a different terminology between organization and group membership. They are the individuals who get access to the member portal because they are attached to the membership. They have no responsibility of the membership itself, and they do not process renewals whatsoever. That is solely on the primary contact. So now we understand the difference between a primary and a group member, who I'm going to mention throughout the presentation. I'm going to actually jump over to Member 365. So just hold on one second while I do that. And we're going to land in the member administration dashboard, so the CRM. So from here, I'm going to go up to memberships, and we're going to find our membership group category. So I'm going to go to category setup, and I'm going to scroll down to my membership category, which is the organization and group membership, which I created specifically for this demonstration. Now, I already have a bunch of pre-tabs open, so I am just going to jump through those, and I'll mention that throughout when I am jumping. So when I open up my group and organization membership, I'm not going to go through any of the other items on here other than the group membership configuration portion. If you want to know how to do anything else with the membership, there is a membership 101 basics that you can go through webinar. It's on our website. We're also having another one in March, so you'd be more than happy to join that one as well, where we go into detail about how to create and configure your membership categories. This is strictly just group membership. So first things first, what are the different types of group memberships? So we have 4 different ways for you to grant a group member access. So you can have unlimited, which means that you can allow as many employees or group members as you want. You could have a limited amount, so the group member can maybe only have 5 group members or 2 group members based off of their fee. Or you could have seat packages. So these are predetermined seats and amounts that they have to pay for those seats in order to grant their members access. So it's very easy to set up. You just would create a package and it would look something like this. So you'd indicate how many seats they would get within that package, how much that would cost. If there is an additional fee, you could have the first one free. What ledger you want to use. So you could have a specific general ledger for your seat packages for tracking purposes for accounting. And then do you want them to be able to adjust their seats on their renewals? So this one's really important, and I always recommend it because sometimes employees vary year to year, and as companies grow, they might want to have more seats. So it's also a revenue stream for you if you're looking how to gain more members and also having that group increase. I'm just going to cancel. Finally, you can have none. So you could simply just have a group membership with only the primary. The only time you'd really want to do this is if you have like an organization directory and it's an organization membership. So otherwise, for the purposes of this webinar, I'm going to leave it on unlimited. No restrictions. The next items on here are what permissions you want to allow that group member. So not the primary, just the individuals that are attached as a group or employee. So the first one though is for the primary. So this is the ability for them to be able to add new group members or employees instead of you having to do it. So this kind of gives them control. So if they have new people, they can add them. If they have people that leave them or get fired, they're able to remove them without having to bother an administrator on your side. It will automatically create a contact record for them. And so you can communicate with them automatically, especially if you have all your email lists built out to include employees. So I'm going to say that I do want them to. So I'm going to leave this as no, I don't want to hide it. I want the primary to be able to add members as needed. Do you want the groups to be able to see all the directories that you have available? Yes. Do you want the group members to be in the directory? So one thing to be careful with this is that if you say yes, they are literally in all directories for this membership category. So if you have an organization directory, it might show the same organization multiple times with different contacts because it's including the individuals, the group members as an individual as attached to that organization. So just something to be aware of. I could say yes, the other items on here or no. So store, job board, education, events, member benefits. So you can kind of limit what the employee or group member can see versus the primary. Then we have the primary option. So you can also just not flat out allow primary to invite anyone so they can see who's there, but you don't want to allow them to invite anybody to the platform. And you can also allow them to use tags. So you can allow administrators to add their own tags if you want, or you can make it so that there's only a number of tags that they can select from. So it's giving them a little bit more capability for you to also be able to segment when you're communicating. It's up to your discretion on how you want to use that. Okay, so this is configuring the membership. I'm now actually going to just jump over to an organization record and show you what it looks like for an administrator. Now, I'm already assuming that you've watched one of our previous webinars on the contact record, which takes you through how to find organizations and individuals. So that is posted on the website, by the way, if you want to watch it. So I'm just going to jump over to the Orange Incorporated. So on this primary or organization contact record, I can see that there is a membership attached to it. So there's a group membership, it's in good standings, and I can see all the contact information for the organization. But the two that I really want to pay close attention to for this is the related and employees. This is how I know that this membership category is a group membership category because it allows employee accounts. So first I'm going to tell you, if I am a primary, but I'm leaving, how do I switch it to the new primary? That's how you go to related contacts. And this will show you, oh, it's asking me to sign in. So just bear with me one moment. There we go. So this is going to tell you all the contacts within this organization that is available. Right now, this check mark indicates the primary for that organization membership or group membership. Sally is the primary. Now, if I wanted to change this, I would simply just check it off. So then Stephen Foley would then be the new primary and would be in charge of the membership. Now I'm going to leave it with Sally and we're going to go look at Sally in a minute and show you what it looks like for her to add employees. But as an administrator, if you want to add employees, you would come here and you would add them here. So one thing to be very careful, and this is a best practice, is when you're adding group members, don't add them as a contact and then enroll them. Add them here as an employee because you can create an account or send an invite directly from here, which will ask them to give you their contact information, or you can create it yourself. So to show you what I mean by that. So I go to create account. I'm actually going to create an account for someone. So I'm just going to actually autofill this with mine, because yes, I have an email address. You can do this without an email address if you just want to have a contact in your database. But typically use the email address. And then it's going to ask me to fill in. Now, it's not asking me for my first name and last name because this user is already in the database. It's just asking if there's any alternatives. It will ask you first name, last name, and anything along those lines. And then it asks you if you want to grant them portal access. So when you hit add, it sends them the login credentials for the member portal. Now, if I don't want to fill this out, because maybe I don't have all this information and all I have is an email address, this is when you would go back and you would simply hit invite. So if all you have is an email address, you would put in the email address here, and then it will send them an email with a link to fill out the same application. So just their first name, last name, basic contact information, so that you have that information in the database. Down here, I can see all of the employees that are already existing. If I had seat packages, it would tell me how many were available. I can remove anyone. So if someone calls up and say, hey, this person's no longer working, so remove Jason, I can come in here and remove that contact as an employee. So they no longer get access to the platform. So I'm actually going to jump over and show you now what it looks like for a primary to be able to add. And it's very similar to this. So this is a very standard feature. So it's here as an administrator in the back end on the organization record, and it's also in the portal if you want to enable that feature for the contact. So if I go over to Sally's, and we're going to impersonate Sally. So impersonate is just on the left-hand side here. I'm now in Sally's membership portal. And if I scroll all the way down to the bottom, I see the employee accounts where I, as Sally, can manage. So there's two places you can add as an administrator a new employee. You can either impersonate the primary, or you can go to the organization record and go to the employee accounts. Both work. So they have the same abilities here. The other location in the portal, so there are two in the portal, you can also go up to my account and go to employee account. So it's in both places. Either work the same, and again, it's the same exact features that were in the administration portion on the organization record. So I'm just actually going to go back. Those were configuring the administration and the primary contact views. So now I'm actually going to jump over and go through a few best practices before we get into our Q&A. So the first best practice is only have one primary for the group membership. So this is something common I see with quite a few organizations, is they try to actually add a second primary. You can't. You would actually add a secondary contact to the primary account so they can help manage it, but only one primary per membership category. You can't split employees divided into two. The system actually won't let you enroll a second person. It's only on import. So be careful when you're importing to only have one primary per group. Next we have is, as I mentioned, best practice is add an employee from the organization record or by impersonating the primary. So don't create the contact and then try and add them as an employee. Just add them as an employee, fill out the information, or send that invite so they can do it very quickly and get that access. Next, so one thing I do for the transferring of your membership, it is best practice to transfer the membership of the primary before you remove the old primary. So a lot of organizations will delete an employee that is no longer with the organization. So don't delete unless you've transferred that primary membership to the new person first, because you don't want to lose it, because it does attach also to the individual record. So you want to be careful not to disconnected and have to re-enroll somebody into a new membership, as you want to keep that history. All right, so question time. I love questions. So let's see if we have a couple of questions. All right. Can a primary contact of a group also have an employee account? Yes, this is actually very common. So a lot of people associate a primary as also being an employee, and that primary account can kind of switch quickly month to month. So sometimes it is good to have them with an employee account, especially if it's unlimited, and that primary. So they might not leave the company, but they might just no longer be in charge of the primary account. Something to think about. Can I customize the group membership category if I want to say chapters? Yes, so this is actually mentioned in another webinar, and if I go back, I can actually show you. So if I go to the membership category, there are two different types of group membership, and the only difference is that one is customizable. So the org/group and the chapter are the same. They have the same functionalities. The only difference is that chapter is custom labeled, and you can do that by going to the setting or the options in here, and you can customize your membership type. So this one's customized to chapter, but if you have like families in your homeowners association, you could put families instead of chapters. All right. One more question. Can we add new seat packages at any time? Yes, you can. So you can add seat packages at any time and adjust them. I always just like to warn you to be careful of not removing current packages. You might want to adjust the price for that next renewal, but you don't want to remove ones that are already existing, or that's going to mess up with the current employee status. So for example, if you have like a 1, 2, 3 and you want to move to a 1, 3, 5, if somebody has that group 2 like seat package, you want to be careful because it's going to deactivate their accounts. So just beware that you want to kind of still, you can adjust the fee prices and you can add new ones, but just be careful that you're not removing any current ones that are in existence until maybe very close, and notify your members that it's coming. All right. Any questions or anything else I can help with? All right. So one thing I always like to mention just at the end of these is we do have lots of resources available for you. So you can do online chat during business hours. We have our very, very heavy base, knowledge base that you can use at any time. We also have our ticketing system, and all of these options are available directly on your dashboard. So if I go back to Member 365 and I go to your dashboard, you'll see them on the top right here. So they're always available for you. I also want to mention that we do have quite a few webinars coming on just on our website, so you can sign up for those. And if you want to look at any of our past webinars, they are also available on the website as well. All right, well, thank you all for joining us today. I look forward to seeing you next week. We do have our Bambora webinar, and then after that, we have financials with Stephen on the 24th and 25th of February. So thank you very much, and talk to you soon.